Hello everyone, how are you doing? We are going to take lesson 24, instructor Шерматова, group CL17, subject Computer Business English. The theme of today's lesson is Unit 7, topic Cultures. Type of the lesson is practical. Learning objectives. Upon completion of this lesson, students will be able to define culture and cultural awareness, identify the importance of culture in business, outline the culture of another nation. First, let's define the word the culture. What is culture? Culture is a word for the way of life of groups of people, meaning the way they do things. Different groups may have different cultures. A culture is passed on the next generation by learning. Culture is seen in people's writing, religion, music, clothes, cooking, and in what they do. Second meaning, culture is made up of values, beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors shared by a group of people. Culture is the behavior that results when a group arrives at a set of generally unspoken and unwritten rules for how they will work together. And we have the word cultural awareness. What is it? It is someone's cultural awareness is their understanding of the differences between themselves and people from other countries or other backgrounds, especially differences in attitudes and values. You see, this is just a notion about culture and cultural awareness. I can say it's a theoretical part of our lesson. As our today's lesson is practical lesson, let's go to our practical part. Unit 7, Cultures. Today we will take listening comprehension and speaking activities. On the top of the page, you see the sentence here. Share our similarities, celebrate our differences. Max Scott, American author. On this page, you see different kinds of pictures, yeah? And I think you understood that these pictures show cultures of different countries. And for starting up, we have the following questions. What do you miss most about your own country or culture when you go abroad? What do you miss? Some people often go abroad, yes? And what do you think? What do they most miss about their own country and culture? For example, as for me, if I go to abroad, I miss my hometown, maybe the places, maybe our town, theaters, culture, customs, and traditions. You should answer this question. And the next question is, why is cultural awareness important for business people? Here you should give examples or just the reasons. And on this box you see several words which help you to answer or to create in creating culture, important words in creating culture. And you should just take 4 factors from these words which you think are the most important in creating culture. For example, you can take ideas and beliefs, maybe the climate of your country. Then from the second column, I can choose the language, then social customs and traditions, ceremonies and festivals. And I should group these factors that they are really important in culture learning. Do you understand me? Okay, next exercise is exercise 0, and there are 4 topics. I can say just 4 topics. You should think about it and answer the question. Do you think cultures are becoming more alike nowadays? Is this a good thing or bad thing. The topics are the following: improved communication, global business, cheap foreign travel, trading groups, like as European Union. Yeah? So, why not take, for example, cheap foreign travel? You know that nowadays traveling is very much increased. Yeah? A lot of people go abroad, or just they travel to see the sightseeing, maybe to have a rest in another country. Also, we have global business here. And in this way, you should say, is this a good thing or bad thing? Give reasons. Exercise D. How important are the following things when doing business in your country? As our subject is connected with computer business English, of course, all the questions, all the topics are connected with business. Yeah? And the question is that how often the following things when doing business in your country, how important are these things? And we have there A, important, B, not important, and C, best avoided questions, yes? And according to this scheme, you should divide your paper, maybe your page, into 3 columns and put these 12 words or 12 word combinations according to their importance. Yeah? For the first column, you should put important. What words then not important? Then say best avoided. Best avoided. These are exercises for speaking, dear students. Now let's go over to the next page. What do you see in this page? Of course, culture, yeah? Different countries. You see the lady in a costume. Then people are sharing or are eating from one plate. And the third picture is people who are praying, yeah? In one building, sitting in one room. Of course, these are cultures of different countries. Let's go to our listening comprehension listening exercises. They are connected with cultural awareness. As we have said above, that cultural awareness is someone's or one country's differences from another country's. Yes, it may include beliefs, what they are doing, their culture, everything is included in this word. Listening 7.1. Be attentive and listen to this audio. It's an interview. The interview is divided into 3 parts. The interview is taken from Jeff Thomas, Marketing Director at an International Briefing Center at Farnham Castle, Surrey. He talks about training courses which prepare people for doing business internationally. And after listening, you have to do some tasks. First, let's listen to 7.1.
Unit 7. Cultures. Recording 7.1.
How do you prepare people to do business internationally? How we prepare people to do business internationally really depends on the task that they're undertaking on behalf of their company or organization. For example, if you're being sent by your company to live and work overseas for a period, say, of 2 or 3 years as an assignee, then we would provide you either with a 1 or 2 day program covering such issues as cultural awareness, practical issues of living in, working in, as well as how to deal with culture shock, which everybody goes through when they go on assignment. We'll also deal with particular issues such as schooling, healthcare, and in particular parts of the world, increasingly with security. However, if, as is the case now, many more people are not actually going to live overseas but have international responsibility, you need a different set of learning tools. And that is, first of all, a general cultural awareness and understanding of how you should really operate when dealing with people with other cultures, teaching you how to negotiate contracts, communication, just generally whether that's by telephone, by email, or even by the written word, the words that you choose have a very different effect on the recipient depending on which culture you're conversing with. Another important area these days is presentation skills. In the past, it's been assumed that you use the same presentation from your home country when presenting to a multicultural audience. But that's very much not the case. We teach people even down to the kind of words you use on the slides, the colours you use, and indeed how to deal with questions and answers and manage your audience, because of course in different cultures there's a different response. Finally, it's very important, we believe here at Farnham Castle, to underpin all this with some ability to communicate in the host language. Whilst English is still very much regarded as the international language of business, it is increasingly expected that people will make at least some effort and attempt to learn the language of the people that they're dealing with. Particularly in a social environment, it really demonstrates an interest and an affinity with the people that you really are trying to build relationships with. And of course, business is all about building relationships.
Okay, understood. I'll send this listening comprehension to you from your watch email too. So, after listening this listening comprehension, you should complete the list of issues that he mentions, that Jeff Thomas mentions. Here you see some what bold spaces, and you should feel after listening this what ordering this exercise. Okay, I think it's clear for you. Now, the second listening comprehension, it's the second part of the interview, and here in this interview, Jeff talks about the personality traits that help in doing business internationally. And the question is, which three personality traits does he consider to be important? Let us listen to listening 2.
Recording 7.2.
I know there's certain skills and techniques for doing business internationally which could be applied in any culture. I think rather than skills and techniques, there are some very strong personality traits that those people who tend to be more successful in an international business environment tend to demonstrate. For example, flexibility and adaptability would be a particularly strong requirement. The ability to observe, participate in something, and adapt your own set of skills and knowledge and your own way of doing things to actually listen more carefully would be another strong trait that you really ought to demonstrate. Adaptability, listening, and I think really to take an approach with a very positive attitude. I think anybody who approaches cultural issues with a very negative attitude will get a very negative response from the people they're trying to do business with.
Okay. Again, I want to mention that the question is, which three personality traits does he consider to be important? See 7.3, listen to the third part of the interview. It is the last part of the interview, and you should answer the question, which two cultural aspects does Jeff mention and what does he say about them? Now, should we start?
Recording 7.3.
And can you give us examples of typical cultural mistakes made by people doing business internationally? There are lots of quoted examples, and I think they're really to do with attitudes, particular facets of cultures. For example, time would be a very important cultural aspect that you really do have to learn. If you're from a Western culture, then how you do approach time and how you do business, for example, in a country like Saudi Arabia, would be very important. Other examples are really attitudes to hierarchy. For example, there are many US corporations who have very young, high-flying business, very successful business executives. For example, if you send one of those individuals to meet and do business with a senior Asian business person, again, Japan comes to mind, then they'll be met with a very distinctly negative response. And what indeed will happen is that the senior Asian business person will see this very much as an insult, probably either leave the meeting or refuse to attend the meeting, and will actually send somebody who they think is of equal status and age to negotiate with that individual. And because that lower individual, more junior individual, doesn't have the authority, then you're very unlikely to achieve anything out of that meeting.
Okay, they were given 6 aspects, and Thomas Jeff Thompson, he talked some of them, and you should remember after listening this audio and find what does Jeff mention about. Here are the words entertaining, time, gift giving, greetings, hierarchy, and dress. And the question was that what difficulties or what mistakes do business people do while doing some kind of negotiations or in cultural awareness. I have heard about the time, and what about you? You should do it at home, okay? So, and for your homework, I want to give you exercise D. Which country would you like to visit on business? What would you like to know about the culture of this country before visiting? Think of some questions to ask. Use the topics listed above to help you. And add some others of your own. So you see, here today we took some exercises for cultures and exercise for reading, for listening, then for writing I give you as a homework, and of course for speaking. And if you have questions, you can give me. For today, it's enough, because next time we'll continue our topic, cultures, because it's a big theme. We'll continue, and so I want just to make a conclusion for today's lesson. You see? I want to summarize or to conclude my lesson with the following sentences. Culture is just one perspective that can help us to understand more about a business. In this lesson, we saw how cultural awareness is important for business people and the factors that are the most important in creating culture. Many cultural elements of a business are not obvious, but there have been some attempts to develop definitions and identify influencing factors. It's possible to see or feel that one business is different from another, and that this involves more than just how it presents itself to the outside world. That's all for today. See you next time. Thank you.